Welcome to the channel. This is a 5-part series of Hmong Paranormal stories. Story 1, The Clay Bell. Story 2, The Roadside Bear. Story 3, The Flute on the Road. Story 4, The Comb in Room 6. And Story 5, The One Only I Remember. If you're into haunting, realism, cultural mystery, and stories that stay with you, make sure to subscribe, comment, like, share, and hit that notification button so you don't miss a single one. Story 1, The Clay Bell. I was 13 when I found the bell. It was the dry season, and the ground behind our house had cracked open in places, revealing roots and stones that had been hidden for years. I was digging for bamboo shoots near the edge of the forest when my hoe struck something hard. At first, I thought it was just another rock, but when I brushed away the dirt, I saw it was shaped, round, with a small loop at the top. A bell. Clay, not metal. Faded carvings spiraled around its surface like vines or snakes, and the bottom was chipped, as if it had been buried in a hurry. I picked it up and felt a strange warmth in my palm. Not heat, exactly. More like the feeling of holding something that had been waiting. I brought it home, proud of my find. My mother frowned when she saw it. "Where did you get that?" she asked, drying her hands on a towel. "Behind the house," I said. "Near the forest." She didn't say anything for a moment. Then she turned back to the sink and said, "Don't bring things like that inside." I didn't understand. It was just a bell. Old, maybe, but harmless. I placed it on my bedside, where the afternoon sun could warm it. That night, I dreamed of someone standing by the trees. Not walking, not moving, just standing. I couldn't see their face, only the outline. Tall, thin, with arms that hung too low. The forest around them was silent. No bird, no wind. Just that figure, watching. I woke up with my heart pounding and the taste of dirt in my mouth. The next day, I heard the bell ring. Software, just once. I was alone in my room, reading. I looked up, but the bell hadn't moved. I told myself it was the wind, even though the window was closed. That night, the dream came back. The figure was closer. I could hear breathing. Slow, heavy, like someone trying not to cry. I woke up with dirt under my fingernails. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want my mother to take the bell away, but I started asking questions. My grandmother lived in the next village. I visited her the following weekend and brought the bell with me, wrapped in a cloth. She didn't touch it. She didn't even look at it directly. "Clay bells like this," she said, "were used to mark places where something terrible happened. They're warnings." "Warnings of what?" I asked. She looked at me for a long time. "Sometimes it's objects to ease the ghost." I told her about the dreams, about the figure in the forest, about the ringing. She nodded slowly. "You need to return it." "But I didn't steal it," I said. "I just found it." She shook her head. "Trust me. You have to return it." I didn't understand what she meant, but I felt the truth of it in my chest, like a thread pulling tight. That night, the dream changed. I wasn't in the forest anymore. I was in a house I didn't recognize. Dark, with walls made of rotting wood. The figure stood in the corner, its face hidden behind a veil. I could hear the bell ringing, louder now, and with each ring, the walls cracked a little more. I woke up gasping. The next morning, I took the bell back to the forest. I didn't know exactly where I found it, so I chose a quiet spot beneath a tamarind tree and dug a hole deep enough that it wouldn't be uncovered again. I wrapped the bell in a clean cloth and placed it gently in the earth. I whispered something. I don't remember what. Maybe, I'm sorry. Maybe, please stop. The wind picked up as I covered the hole. Leaves rustled, and for a moment, I thought I heard a voice. Not words, just a sound, soft, like someone exhaling after holding their breath for too long. That night, I didn't dream. But the next morning, there were footprints outside side of the house. Bare feet, long strides, leading away from the house towards the forest. I followed them. They ended at the tamarind tree. The dirt was undisturbed, but the air felt heavy. Like before a storm, I stood there for a long time listening. I never saw the figure again, but sometimes, when the wind is just right, I hear the bell, and I don't go near it. I've told this story only once before, to a friend who didn't believe in spirits or curses, or anything that couldn't be explained by science. He laughed, said I must have imagined it. That dreams are just dreams, but I know what I saw, I know what I felt, and I know that some things wait in silence, hoping someone will listen. Story 2, The Roadside Bear. I still don't know why we stopped. It was late afternoon, and my wife and I were driving back from visiting her cousin in Milwaukee. The road was quiet, winding through cornfields and patches of forest. We were talking about dinner, whether we had enough lemongrass at home, when I saw it, a teddy bear, sitting upright on the shoulder of the road just past a bend. No cars around, no houses nearby, just the bear, dusty and sun-faded, staring out at nothing. I slowed down. Don't, my wife said softly. It's probably trash or a setup. I thought about it, but something about it felt placed, not dropped, not forgotten. It was clean despite the dust. No tears, no label, no cross or ribbon, or anything to suggest it was part of a roadside memorial. I pulled over anyway. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I felt sorry for it. Maybe I thought it would make a sweet gift for our daughter, who was 5 and still slept with a stuffed rabbit she had since birth. Next move. Stupid, I know. I picked it up. It was heavier than I expected. Solid. Like it had something inside. My wife didn't say anything as I set it in the back seat. That night, my daughter found it before I could hide it. Who gave me this? She asked, hugging it tight. I hesitated. Mommy and Daddy bought it from the store. The store say it's antique and special. She smiled. It is a bit dirty, but it smells like flowers. I love it. I am going to name it Miss Rose. I didn't smell anything. The first few days were normal. My daughter slept with it, talked to it like it was alive. That wasn't unusual. She had a vivid imagination. But then things started to shift. She stopped eating, not completely, but she pushed her food around and said she wasn't hungry. She started waking up in the middle of the night, standing in the hallway, staring at nothing. When we asked what she was doing, she said Rose told her to go outside and play. Then came the smell, sweet, rotten, like flowers left too long in water. It clung to her room no matter how much we cleaned. I changed the carpet, I scrubbed the floors, nothing helped. One night, I woke up to whispering and giggles. I thought it was my daughter, but when I checked her room, she was asleep, curled around the bear, her lips moving silently. I leaned closer and heard a voice, not hers, not mine. I snatched the bear from her arms. She screamed, not like a child startled awake, like something had been ripped from her. My wife ran in, and we stood there, stunned as my daughter sobbed and reached for the bear. I held it tight. and for a moment, I swear it pulsed in my hands. I do not know what to do, so I decide to take it to the church. The priest listened quietly as we explained. He didn't touch the bear, just looked at it. "This is not a toy," he said. "It's possible that this could be something far worse." "Can you explain?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he prepared a cleansing ritual. He lit candles, chanted, sprinkled water. The bear didn't move, but the air around it shimmered, like heat rising from stone. My daughter, sweaty and groaning. Afterward, the priest wrapped it in cloth and handed it to me. "You must return it," he said. "Not to the road, to the place it belongs. But we don't know where that is." He looked at me, eyes tired. "Then bury it far from your home, and do not mark the spot." My wife and I drove deep into the forest the next morning. Our daughter only said one thing. "Miss Rose say she will always be my friend." I found a clearing near a stream, dug a hole. The bear felt heavier. I wrapped it in the cloth, placed it in the earth, and covered it with stones. I whispered an apology. I didn't know who I was speaking to, but prayed it leave my family alone. The forest was silent. When we returned, our daughter was sleeping, peaceful. Her room smelled clean. Her appetite returned. She never asked about Miss Rose again. I thought it was good until recently. I heard the giggles again. My daughter is in her teens now. I am unsure what I'm expecting. Some things are better left ignored. Story 3. The Flute on the Road. I was never jealous of him. Not when he wore silk shirts while I patched mine with rice sacks. Not when he rode a horse to school while I walked barefoot. Not even when the village boys laughed behind my back and called me the servant friend. I didn't mind. I had my pride. I never stole, never begged, never took what wasn't given. He was my friend, in a way. Rich, loud, always laughing. He never hit me or cursed me, but he made jokes at my expense, called me skinny ghost. I laughed along, even when it stung. That's how it was. One day, when we were both around 13, we walked the dirt road toward his family's farm. I worked there sometimes, pulling weeds, hauling water. He mostly watched. That day, the sun was high and the air smelled like dry leaves. That's when we saw it, a flute. It lay just off the road, half buried in dust. Long, dark wood, carved with strange symbols. No cloth, no ribbon, no sign it was meant for someone. Just sitting there. He pointed. "Pick it up." I shook my head. I was taught not to take what isn't mine. Maybe the owner will come back. He rolled his eyes. "Shut up, idiot. Things like this don't have owners until someone picks it up. I found it. It's mine." He grabbed it and blew into it. The sound was deep, beautiful, but wrong. Like something old waking up. I felt it in my chest, a cold ripple, like wind through bones. He laughed. "Hear that? It's perfect." We reached his farm. He went inside to nap. I went to the fields. That was our rhythm. By evening, he came out to help, which meant standing around, tossing pebbles, and telling me to work faster. We walked back to the village as the sun dipped low. He played the flute again, humming along. I kept my distance. The next morning, he didn't come out of his house. By noon, villagers came to my door. They didn't ask questions. They tied my hands and dragged me to his family's compound. His mother screamed at me. His father demanded answers. "What did you do to our son?" I said nothing. I didn't know what was happening. They locked me in a shed. No food, no water, just heat and silence. 2 days passed. On the third morning, the door creaked open. His father stood there, grim-faced. He's better now. They let me go. No apology. No explanation. The villagers avoided my eyes. My uncles didn't speak of it. I went back to work the next day. Years passed. I married a girl with no family. She was quiet, strong, and kind. We had little, but we built a life, a garden, a home, laughter. He never married. Every time he courted a girl, something happened. They'd talk. He'd play the flute. And within days, she'd fall ill. Fever, nightmares, then death. 3 girls, all gone. He didn't see the pattern. Or maybe he refused to. Then a wandering shaman came to our village, old with eyes like smoke. He spoke to the rich boy's family, asked questions, listened. The boy denied everything. I don't have a flute. The shaman nodded. When you're ready to admit, find help. Weeks passed, then another girl died. Finally, he confessed. He brought the flute to his parents. They burned it in a fire. That night, he dreamed of a woman. She stood in a field of black grass, her face half rotted, her eyes full of sorrow. We were bound, she whispered. You played the song. You called me. Why did you sever the line? He woke screaming. He got sick, and they had to do a shaman ceremony for him to call his soul back. After that, he felt lighter, but the village whispered. Girls avoided him. His name became a warning. Eventually, his family signed up to go to America. A new start, a place where no one knew the story. The night before they left, I saw him standing at the edge of the village, staring into the trees. I approached cautious. I burned it, he said, but I still hear it. I listened. The wind was quiet, but then, faint, like breath on glass, I heard it too. A flute, low, hollow, beckoning. He turned to me, eyes wide. She's not gone. I said nothing. What could I say? They left the next morning, but the village dogs howled all night, and the birds didn't sing for 3 days. A month later, we received a letter from his uncle in America. The boy had vanished. No signs, no struggle, just gone. The only thing left behind was a flute. Story 4. The Comb in Room 6. I was 9 when I first saw it. We had just moved to Minnesota, and my mother worked night shifts at the hospital. She couldn't afford a babysitter, so she brought me with her, tucked me into the break room with a blanket, a thermos of warm rice water, and a bag of sticky rice wrapped in banana leaf. I didn't mind. The hospital was quiet at night, and I liked the way the lights hummed overhead like they were whispering secrets. One evening, I wandered down the hallway while my mother cleaned. I wasn't supposed to, but I was curious. The building felt like a maze. Long corridors, closed doors, and the occasional flicker of fluorescent light. Room 6 was at the far end, past the nurse's station. The door was cracked open, and inside, the bed was made, the lights off. But on the windowsill sat a comb. It was beautiful. Black lacquer, carved with swirling patterns that looked like clouds or waves. I stepped inside, drawn to it like a moth to flame. I picked it up. The moment I did, the air changed. The lights flickered. The room felt colder. I heard something, like breathing. I froze, heart pounding. Then I ran back to the break room and shoved the comb into my backpack. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw a woman. Her hair was long and tangled, her face pale and wet. She stood at the foot of my bed, whispering in a language I didn't understand. Her voice sounded like water dripped into a deep well. I woke up gasping, clutching my blanket, the comb still hidden in my bag. I didn't tell my mother, Over the next few days, things got worse. I started sleepwalking. I woke up with scratches on my arms. I heard footsteps behind me, even when I was alone. And always, the woman came back, closer each time. She never touched me, but her eyes followed me everywhere. In mirrors, in puddles, in the glass of the hospital vending machine. One night, I woke up choking. My throat felt full of water. I gasped and coughed, and when I opened my eyes, she was there. She pointed to my backpack. I understood. The next day, I went back to room 6. The door was locked, but I slipped the comb through the crack beneath it. The moment I did, the hallway lights dimmed, then brightened, the air warmed, and the breathing stopped. I never saw her again. Years later, I asked my mother about room 6. She went quiet. That room, she said, was where a Hmong woman died. She drowned in her own lungs. Pneumonia. She had no family. No one claimed her body. They say she was buried without her belongings. I nodded. I didn't tell her about the comb. Some things you don't explain. You just return them. But the story didn't end there. When I turned 16, I started volunteering at the same hospital. I wanted to help people, maybe become a nurse like my mother. One night, I was assigned to deliver supplies to the East Wing. I passed room 6. It was closed, but I felt it again. That cold ripple in the air, like wind through bones. I kept walking. Later that shift, a nurse asked me to help clean out an old storage closet. Inside, buried beneath boxes of expired gloves and dusty charts, I found it. The comb, same black lacquer, same swirling patterns, same dragon etched along the spine. I didn't touch it. I called my grandmother the next morning. She listened quietly, then told me what I already feared. She paused. You already returned it once. If it came back, it's not finished. That night, I dreamed of the woman again. She wasn't angry, just sad. We were bound, she whispered. You picked it up. You carried me. You returned me. But you never asked who I was. I woke up crying. The next day, I went to the temple. I brought offerings, rice, incense, water. I prayed. I asked for forgiveness. I asked for release. The monk didn't ask questions. He burned the comb with herbs and salt. The smoke curled like fingers, then vanished. Since then, I haven't seen her. But sometimes, when I walk past room 6, I feel a warmth in the air. Not cold, not eerie, just present, like someone watching. Not to haunt, but to remember. Story 5, the one only I remember. I flew to Laos for Hmong New Year. It was my first time attending. I heard stories, how the fairgrounds filled with color, music, and the smell of grilled sausage and lemongrass. How elders gathered under tents to play cards and gossip. How the young people dressed in their best, hoping to catch someone's eye. I wasn't looking for anything. I just wanted to feel connected again. To my culture. To something older than me. I arrived early, before the crowds thickened. The sun was soft, and the air carried that strange mix of excitement and nostalgia. I wandered past booths selling silver coins, hand-stitched outfits, and herbal remedies. I watched dances rehearse. I listened to the kiji echo across the field. That's when I saw her. She stood near the edge of the crowd, beneath a tree that hadn't bloomed yet. Her outfit was traditional, but different. Older, faded, with embroidery I didn't recognize. Her silver didn't jingle, her eyes didn't blink much, but when she looked at me, I felt something shift, like I stepped into a memory that wasn't mine. She smiled. You came. I blinked. Do I know you? Not yet, she said, but you will. We talked for hours. I don't remember everything we said. Just fragments. She asked about my family, my dreams, my regrets. She told me stories about spirits that linger, about names that get lost, about how some people are remembered only by one. Before I left, she pressed something into my hand, a small pendant, shaped like a flower. It was smooth and warm, like it had been held for years. She said it was hers, that it will help me remember. She gave me her Facebook, told me to call when I got home. We ball tossed. She threw over me, so I turned back to go grab the ball. I came back and she was gone. I asked around, described her. No one knew who I was talking about. Not the vendors, not the elders. She doesn't sound familiar, they said. Are you sure she was here? I checked my phone. I tried calling her Facebook. I flew back to Oklahoma the next day. The pendant stayed warm in my pocket. That night, I called the Facebook. It rang once. Then a voice answered. Software familiar. You remember? I asked who she was. She said, your long-awaited lover, and she chuckles. I asked if she was real. She said, I was. I am. Then the line went dead. I tried calling again. I checked the pendant. It was cold now, cracked down the middle. I didn't sleep. The next day, I asked my grandpa about the pendant. He stared at it for a long time, then said, I used to have one like that when I was your age. I asked, what happens? He answered, I gave it to my girlfriend at the time, but she got married to someone else. It was a forced marriage. That night, I dreamed of her. She stood in the same spot beneath the tree. Her eyes were softer now. She said, you saw me. That's enough. I woke up crying. Weeks passed. I tried to forget, but I couldn't. Her face stayed with me. Her voice echoed in quiet moments. One day, I buried the pendant beneath the tree in a forest. I whispered her name. The wind shifted. The leaves rustled. And for a moment, I felt her hand in mine. Warm. Real. Then it was gone. I still remember her. Her face. Her voice. Her story. No one else does. Thanks for listening in. These stories are echoes of real emotions, real traditions, and the mysteries that live between generations. If one of these stories spoke to you, drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when the next story drops. Until then, stay curious and stay connected.